Welcome to the Shoreline Shit Show. This is episode 9. Today we have a special guest that has been kind of mentioned a couple times in the podcast, Mr. Dave Parker,
aka Glide Bait King.
I don't know if I'm the king, but more like.
Well, I don't know anybody else on Long Island that's doing what you're doing besides Brian.
Well, I learn from other people, so I have my mentors.
There's a couple people that like to stay a little under the radar.
Yeah.
So then that's their problem, not ours.
No, I'm just saying that there are more.
So come out of the woodwork then. What do you want me to tell you? You want to get?
They all used to.
They kind of like
They used to post more a few years ago. Life happens, and people have to take care of certain things and don't get fishing as much as they used to. But trust me, when they're out there, they're still crushing it. Like I said, the people I learned from are some of the best fishermen I've ever met in my life.
Well, give a little background about yourself. Like, where did you start? Typically where you fish, but Nassau County, Suffolk County.
I grew up in Massapequa Park, about 2 blocks from the Massapequa Preserve. So
which holds big fish.
I lived at that lake when I was a kid. We used to go there to play on the playground, just walk through the woods, and of course did a lot of fishing. My neighbors across the street from my parents' house, they had a compost pile in their backyard, and they would just let us go back there whenever we want, dig through it, get worms, go down to the lake, and fish for trout, fish for bluegills, bass, whatever would eat a worm. We'd bring dough, fish for carp, corn, whatever we could. I mean, I started doing that when I was probably like 6, 7, and and I would do I started doing that. As I got a little bit older, we kind of started focusing more on the carp because they were bigger fish, and we would go there with the corn and target the carp. And then I kind of fell out of fishing for a while. As a teenager, you playing sports, start smoking pot, fishing becomes less important. I started playing guitar and became really big into music. I was actually I went to school for music. I have my degree in guitar performance and did music for quite a long period of time, for about 10 years as a profession. But around 2021, around there, my parents were having a garage sale, and I had a bunch of fishing gear in their garage, and they asked if I wanted to get rid of it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go grab that. And I had a tackle box that my grandfather gave me years ago. It had a whole bunch of stuff that I never caught a fish on, all plastics, artificials. So I take that tackle box, I take a rod, I go down to Massapequa Preserve, I tie on a little lead jig head and I think it was a 4-inch Berkeley power bait green and black worm. And I'm throwing it out there. I'm going to catch something on this artificial bait today. And about a 2.5-pound bass hits the thing. I set the hook, I reel the thing in, and that was it. That moment, I was like, oh,
game
no.
over.
I'm like, this is it. I went down a rabbit hole after that. I think I went home that day. Well, right after I caught that fish, about 20 minutes later, the DEC showed up. And I was fishing there when I was a kid.
You had no fishing license?
I had no clue I needed a fishing license. They're like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm like, great, I just caught my first bass I've ever caught on an artificial lure. They're like, cool, can I see your fishing license? And I was like, you're shitting me, right?
What?
I'm like, you need a license to fish? I'm like, what is this? They're like, yeah, you need to get a fishing license. So they're like, they gave me a ticket. They said, go to the sports authority, get a fishing license, show up to court, show them you got a license that day, and they'll throw out the ticket, which is what they did. But I literally went home that night. I'm pretty sure I went home that night, went on Bass Pro Shops website, and ordered like $400 worth of fishing gear. And that was it. And from there, from my mid-20s and probably into my early 30s, I fished hard. I was fishing, being a musician, I worked nights. So I had off days. So I would go out in the mornings, I'd fish all day. In the summers, I did a lot of teaching guitar lessons. So I used to move my students all to just 2 days a week. And I would teach from 9 to 10 o'clock at night, 2 days a week. And I'd fish 3 days a week. And then the weekends I did gigs. And it was just, I fished a lot. I was a big bank angler. I did a lot of wading. And at that point in time in my life, I fished, Nassau County. I didn't really stretch out much. I knew my spots. And then when I really started getting the itch in the winter, because they used to close the season. So the bass season used to be closed I think it was December 1st through the first Saturday in June here on Long Island. There was only 3 lakes on Long Island you could fish in that period of time, and that was it was Blydenburg, it was Artist, and Belmont. Those are the 3 lakes you used to be able to fish. And then even when those were closed down during the spawn, I think you were still allowed to fish them. I don't really remember, but you were allowed to fish for pickerel. So like, you're always fishing for pickerel. Yeah. When you couldn't fish.
Just like we tow fish right bass and hope to catch a bluefin.
Yeah.
But that's when I started branching out, trying to find new places, and that's when I first found Blydenburg, and then that became like one of my favorite places to fish. I remember going there one day with fishing a little teeny crankbait. I think I caught like 50 fish that day at Blydenburg on this little teeny crankbait. I just walking around I literally walked the whole entire lake that day. It was absolutely amazing.
I'm so pissed that I never got a chance to fish that before.
To Blydenburg?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that place really is an absolute gem, and it's such a shame that what we're going through right now, just trying to get that place rebuilt. But that was that place was real special. But then again, things happen, life happens. I got out of doing music for a living, and I got into the car business, and I started working 6-7 days a week, nonstop. I was at work all the time, and fishing kind of went on the back burner for a while.
I think that's the most depressing thing I think I've ever heard anybody say.
Fishing went on the back burner?
Fishing went on the back burner, and I went from working 3 days to 7.
Yeah, I had to make a change. It was the late 2000s. The economy crashed. I went from having 50 students a week down to 25, 30. Making half the money. I was a musician working weddings and stuff like that. They went from wedding bands to DJs, so I lost a lot of money there as well. So I had to find something else to do, and I found the car business, and I've been there now for about 16 years in the car business, and it took a long time until COVID happened. COVID happened, and I had nothing to do. I opened my closet and I saw a fishing rod. I was like, "Huh, I remember you." I said to my wife, I'm going to go fishing. She goes, "You're going to go fishing?" I'm like, "Yeah." I went down to Twin Lakes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
I went to Twin Lakes. I tied on a frog. It was I think it was April. I tied on a frog, caught like a 3-pounder on a frog, and I was like, "Oh no, it's back."
It's back.
Went home, spent another $500 at Bass Pro Shops that day. Bought like 4 fishing rods because I had sold most of my gear at one point. I bought like 4 or 5 fishing rods, and that was it. And since then, the last, what is that, 5-6 years ago now, it's just I fell down a real deep rabbit hole now. I went from being obsessed.
We haven't even got into that yet. Your rabbit hole with these baits go real deep.
Yeah, I went from being
you don't
obsessed
even
with
fish
fishing to
like very conventional anymore, right?
I barely threw conventional this past year and the year before. I've been mainly on swim baits for the past couple of years. Sorry, I'm just raising my volume a little bit. So it's been pretty much just the big baits for the past couple of years, and honestly, I don't really see myself going back. I have so much gear that I'm actually think I'm going to start getting ready to try to sell, because I have boxes of stuff that just didn't even see water last year.
Right.
Yeah, but you're like Brian. You don't care if you catch 1 fish a day. You hunt the monsters, is what it is.
I am only looking for that one big bite. I mean, if I'm going to a place and I want to catch fish, I can catch fish. I can bring conventional gear, and I can go fishing, and I can catch a bunch of fish. Once in a blue moon, you kind of, after there's been times I've gone 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trips without catching a fish, and you're like, I just got to hook into something. That's when you bring out a spinning rod, and you just get that one tug, and you're like, all right, cool, I caught 1 fish down, let me go back to chasing the big ones.
Yeah, now I got it back.
What's your biggest fish on the island?
It's an 8-pounder. Don't know exactly how big it was, because unfortunately when I caught it last year, I did not have my scale on me.
Brian was saying
I did measure. I measured it out, like the length of the fish out, on one of my rod sleeves I had, and I took a picture of it compared to a bait I had. And the fish went anywhere between 23, 24 inches, and the thing was around 22 to 23 inches around. And
that was this year or last year?
This was last April. It was the very beginning of April last year. Estimate that fish in the around 8. I was saying 8.5 on the modest side. I talked to my friend. He really thought that fish was bigger, possibly pushing 9. It was right after.
Now
It
that
was
was on the
right in the
shoreline,
spring.
or
Right in
you
the
were
spring, right before spawn. It was big. That fish was round. Yeah.
The fish was round.
I caught before that. I had a 7.6 that I caught the year before that, and the same thing, April. That story of that fish was like one of the craziest stories. I don't know if you want to get into that now or save it for a little bit later.
Fuck it.
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
So the 7.6 that I caught 2 years ago, and it'll be 2 years this April. Me and Brian were going to hang out. We were going to fish that day, actually, and it was raining. It was windy. It was blowing like 30, 35 miles. And we decided, let's not go fishing. We went and got some lunch. And we hung out at a place, got wings, got beers, had a few drinks. I was bummed out because all I really wanted to do was get out and fish, because I always do really well in the pre-spawn. I got home. I made a comment on Facebook about how, it sucks that it's blown out. And a buddy of mine said, "Hey, man, just go for it." He's like, "You're not going to catch him sitting on the couch." So I put on all my rain gear. I went to a lake. I got there. I made 2 casts. The wind was blowing right in my face. I could barely see. The rain was coming in sideways. It was nuts. And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I literally changed my bait up a little bit, made a 3rd cast, and all of a sudden something hits my bait like a freight train. It was maybe 10, 15 feet from the bank. I reel this thing in. If I see it, it moves on the side. It flashes. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is a giant. I drag it up on shore, and I realize my scale's in the car. I literally leave the fish there on the ground, ran to my car, got the scale, ran back, put the thing on. It goes 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. And I'm like, what was that? Take it off the scale, zero it out. I'm like, this is crazy. Put it back on again. 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. I'm like, oh my God. I take a picture of the scale. I don't even get a picture of me with the fish. I'm like, it's pouring rain. It's blowing. It's cold. I end up freaking like taking a couple pictures, throwing the thing back, went to my car. I actually called Brian. I'm like, man, you're never going to believe it. I just caught a 7. And he was like, what? He's like, I'm coming down there. I'm like, well, I'm leaving here. It's crazy out.
I'm going home.
I made 3 casts, broke my PB. I'm going home. I ended up going home, and it was like, that was one of those things. I was there for 10 minutes, made 3 casts, and caught a 7-pounder.
That's crazy.
That's pretty sick.
Nassau County Lake or Suffolk County Lake?
It was in Nassau.
Okay.
That's why Brian was so quick to jump and say, "I'm coming."
Yeah, because he's right there.
He's around the corner.
Now, you primarily only fish glide baits, or you use topwater too, or just like, because you hunt those big fish and your baits are huge.
Yeah, I like so I like big baits in general. I mean, even when I was a conventional fisherman, I threw bigger baits. Really, my first real step towards throwing big baits was years ago. I mean, when I was fishing, it was the early 2000s, and one of the big things that came out were the big hollow belly paddle tails, like the Yum Money Minnow, I think it was, and there was the Bass Tricks, and there was a couple of these big, they were like 5-6 inch paddle tails. And I started getting into those years ago, and even then I was getting people like, "Oh, what are you fishing for? Sharks?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a 6-inch paddle tail swim bait. To me, that's nothing. But at the point in time, everybody thought I was crazy fishing those, and I would catch good fish on those, 5-pounders consistently. I would also fish, I like 10, 12-inch worms. If I'm going to fish a worm, it's not a 6-inch worm. I'm usually fishing, the 10, 12-inch worms, the Zumo monster, the bigger Berkeley power bait worms. If I'm going to fish, anything, a jig, I like a full-size jig. Everything I like is usually a bigger profile, because I'm always I've always wanted to catch the bigger fish. That was always my goal. But moving into the bigger baits I'm fishing now, it's not just glide baits. I fish glide baits. I fish crank downs. I fish wake baits. I fish, soft plastic baits. I fish it all. It's I don't really
Now,
rule anything
do you
out.
do a lot of like do you do a lot of your own like messing with the baits? Like you start tuning them yourself and making them the way you want, or do you just leave them right out of the box?
No, I definitely modify my baits to do exactly what I want. Especially around here, certain times of year, you need your bait to do something different. There's some times of the year you want the bait to get down a little bit further, and there's not a ton of grass in the lake, so you want to weight it a little bit. So I'll modify the bait to get it down a little further. There's other times of the year where there's so much grass in the lakes, you want that thing to stay right on the surface. So you're going to keep it so it's literally just going to float or just go right below the surface. There's different ways to modify things, either with stick-on weights or changing hook sizes. A
Yep.
smaller or a larger hook size. I really do. It depends on the situation. I put nail weights inside soft baits to get them down quicker and keep them down lower. There's all different modifications that I do to baits to try to get them to do what I want to do at that time, and I've gotten more and more into that over the past, really the past year and a half, as I've
Right.
been fine tuning my own fishing style. Because the big bait thing is like you got to kind of find out what works best for you. Not everybody's gonna fish baits the same way as the next person is. So
True.
you got to kind
That's
of
yeah.
figure out what your own
So
style is.
so I know Brian has mentioned to me a couple times about your online tournaments that you try and win some big baits, and I think you've done pretty well in some of them.
I have won one bait so far. I have fished many tournaments, but have only been successful once on winning a bait. It's tough because you're going up against, guys in the United States that
Some
are in areas where our biggest fish is like nothing to them. They throw back seven,
yeah,
8 pounders
it's
like
like
it's
an
nothing.
everyday.
Yeah.
So now, how just go over a little bit of how those kinds of tournaments go, because I'm kind of interested to see more about how that works. Because I know they do their own where it's you're actually doing it on the scale, and it's all like video recording kind of,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. So what it is when you catch a fish, specifically in these tournaments, because it has to be like you have to be catching it on a swim bait. It's swim bait only tournaments. After you catch the fish, you got to take a video. You got to set the camera up. You got to take a video. You got to make sure the fish never, like when you hold the fish, you got to show inside the mouth to make sure there's no weights or anything inside the mouth. You got to make sure that when when you put the fish on the fish and the scale does not leave the screen at all, so you can't be tugging on the fish's tail or like doing
Hmm.
anything to make it you got to say the code word for the month. Every month is a different code word, so you can't use the same fish caught 3 years ago in a tournament. From this year, everything's got its own code word, whether it's a yearly or a monthly.
Right.
That's why sometimes if you ever see like a video like that I'll post up, and I'll say like three different words in the beginning of before weighing the fish, and people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, but those are all
Yeah.
code words to
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
That's what
for the
we're working on.
tournaments, and then
So,
you got to weigh the fish. You're only allowed to use certain scales, so it's either
Well, it's kind of like what else with the CPR? You can only use
yeah, yeah,
certain.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Same thing. You
very
can only use
interesting on like,
certain
and
measuring
how do you,
boards.
but how do you submit them? Now, how does it get submitted to like the director and
So the
everything?
way that we do them is it's all through a Facebook group. So there'll be a post
Okay.
on a Facebook group, and you post your video there, and then the admin that's running the tournament will watch the video, make sure you follow all the rules of the video, and then they'll put okay, this is your score, and accept the video. If you miss something, if
Oh,
you forget to say the code word, if you forget to show what bait you're fishing with, if you forget to, if the scale leaves the screen, it's DQ'd, and that fish can't be
yeah, you
used for
should
the
have luck.
tournament. But a lot of
Right.
times, what I do is I take like 3 or 4 videos just to make sure, because in case you go back and you watch it, you're like, oh man, I forgot to say this, or the fish left the screen here, or something like that. It's I always make sure I take a couple
So
of
what are you?
videos to make
You
sure.
like propping the phone on like on a on a tree, or you bringing like a tripod for yourself?
I have on my kayak, I have an actual phone holder that I use. So if I'm out in the
Okay.
water in my kayak, a lot of times if I catch a good fish, I'll actually kayak. I'll actually, since the lakes around here aren't that big, I'll go over towards like the shoreline, and I'll get out, and I'll like you know
Use the
use the
kayak as
kayak.
a.
Yeah. If I'm just fishing from the bank, then I really just prop it up in my backpack.
Hmm.
I kind of
That's
Figure it out.
crazy.
It's totally different. Like it's pretty wild. Because I was talking to Brian about trying to like get more guys to do our monthlies, and I know there's a couple guys that were interested in doing it that are more like in the tri-state area from the fueled,
Yeah.
like horsepower guys, and they don't have the measuring board. And instead of doing the measuring board, I said to Brian, I was like, "What if we did something like this, like that Dave does online?" And I'm waiting to see how it would work with uploading videos because Fishing Chaos is coming out with some different stuff. So that might be something down the line that we might try to do. But I was just kind of curious on how you guys did it because now you do it one group and all of your bait companies are all in that group
Mhm.
that you're fishing, or you have to use a specific bait maker to catch that
So
fish for a bait maker, or how does that
So
work?
the tournaments are run by the different bait makers. The one
Okay,
of the main ones that I fish is a company called Piz Swim Baits. I love his baits. They're works of art, and they catch fish. Um,
Yeah, but those are the baits that you were showing me that can range anywhere between 100 to like $600-700 for a bait, right?
yeah, his cheapest bait retail I think is two. Wow, I can't remember now. No, 275 is most of them. 300 is the other. But on the secondary market, those baits used to go for like 7, 8, 900. Um, they are not
the
as
secondary
crazy as they
market.
once were now. But I do have a few baits that at one point in time were selling $1,000 for a bait. I didn't pay that much for them.
It's,
But
Jesus,
nowadays,
at least on the record.
the swim bait the actual like secondary swim bait market has gone down over the past since I started over the past few years. Like, there are baits that like I'm seeing, I'm like, wow, I can't believe these baits are selling for $100 when 2 years ago they're going for $300-400. But
Right.
it's what's trending. Just like anything else,
Yeah.
it's what's trending. If you have the right bait right now, you can still get $500 for a bait.
Because I know I've seen a couple like of these bait makers where it's like even to like bid into some of those groups to try to, I believe, buying some of their baits, you have to have like purchased the bait beforehand, or there's like they make some stipulations for you to like get in on the whole circle of buying these freaking things. It seems like because they're one made and that's it. It's like a one and done.
Yeah.
Everything's everything's pure custom, or
So
is that more?
most of the stuff that I buy is usually like they'll do a run of a certain paint scheme, and then they'll do them again, but they're never the same. Also, they're resin baits. So every time they pour resin,
Yeah.
some batches swim better than others. Some colors are more sought after. Um, I am.
Do they all have serial numbers on them?
They don't have serial numbers on them, but I mean, you just know from. I mean, sometimes they'll mark them like if they do a certain run. Like I have a bait that was done for a certain event, and my bait is actually like number one of that run of baits, which is kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
I also have a couple that are one-off customs that uh, have been done. I also in the swim bait community, there's a lot of bait painters out there that you can send baits to get custom painted. So you have a one-of-one bait. Nobody else has that bait out there.
Only you would have a refill right behind you.
But like I said, I am one. Like I said, the company Piz Swim Baits that I fish a lot of stuff. He has like a on his Instagram. You can subscribe to his Instagram, and a lot of
Hmm.
that will then give you the ability to have some inside information when a bait drop is coming, or it gives you the opportunity to win a bait each month. You just get a little more insight to have a chance to get baits. And ever since then, I've been able to get a few baits from through having that subscription that other people didn't even know were becoming available.
We're around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty. It's the same thing with
Oh,
rod building. You're an artist.
yeah.
Like if all you really need though is to have one person catch a big fish on your bait,
Yeah.
and it's a wrap. It's game over. It's just then that everybody wants that. Like if he catches a 10-pound fish on the island on a not your rod,
Yep.
and he says it, I guarantee the orders would come in.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, oh shit, you used that rod? Yeah, it was specially made by Sam, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then they're going to want that because they're going to think that that is actually the key of catching the big fish, which sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't.
Yep.
It always helps. Whether it's a
Yeah,
bait
it does.
or it's a rod, it's all the factors. Always like sometimes it's just pure luck. Sometimes you just what is it? A blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Like Sometimes you just
Well, people don't realize that
yeah.
they have rods to do certain things.
Yes.
Like you have a panfish rod. We were talking about the glide bait rods when you were like, "Oh, it's 8 foot." I'm like, "Oh shit, 8 foot in my world means blackfish and striped bass and stuff like that." I didn't know anybody throwing rods because you need that whip.
Yeah, my
That's why we have so many rods. People just don't get it.
yeah, my biggest rod's 8'6" right now. That's my longest
Right.
rod, and that's what I use to
That was a
throw.
2-piece one, right?
But that was the one that had the handle comes off, the ferrule handle. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an F5 rod, which is a F5. I'm not sponsored at all by them at all, but they make absolutely amazing rods, and almost every one of my swim bait rods are F5s. They're great rods.
Right. So now you have a company like that who
Yeah.
specifically deals with that, maybe that one product line, but they specifically deal with that rod
That
to do
style.
that bait to do that. That's like with our loop. That loop is an all-around rod, but everybody uses it for fluking and blackfish. You can design a rod to specifically use for one bait. Like, it's just how it is. Like this bait throws a big glide bait, and that's what the fuck it does.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah.
And that's probably what he should show up to my house with, like 8 rods. I'm like, well, what are these for? He's like, oh, I just walk around. This is for this, and this is for that. This is for this. I'm like,
and then he
makes
shows you
sense.
up with the 23 different blanks he's got, right, Dave?
Yeah, but prime example, a lot of the stuff that he does, my blanks don't correspond to what he does.
Right.
But we can modify some, and do this and maybe
Yeah.
extend the back on it, but they weren't designed to do that. But if I can get something a prototype or something like that he can use to actually fish that bait, then I can mass produce that blank at that series.
Yeah.
So if I got to take my 7.6 and cut 3 inches off the tip, but extend the back 1.5 feet to give him that 8 foot 8.2.
Right. And then he likes it.
Then he likes it, and it works. It swims the bait right. It works just like this. Then I could take that rod, send it out to the manufacturer, or design the mandrel for it, and now I can print out that blank consistently.
Yeah.
But the market is not. The market here for these big glide baits aren't like it is down south or in California or
and
Texas,
you gotta get
Alabama.
your name down there to even make it worth it.
Yeah,
it's hard.
There are guys around here that throw them not as anywhere near as much as just people regular fishing, conventional gear. Like I said, I personally would love, love to get one of your rods one day. Also for salt, because I would love to have my own. I don't do a ton of saltwater fishing, but when I do, I usually go out on a party boat. I love to bring my own rod because the rods they have in those things are always usually junk.
Well, if you go to a party boat now, 90% of the party boats on Long Island do have not your rods.
Do they really?
We build all the rods for most of the party boats, with the exception of a few, all carry the not your rods line.
Don't think,
but I want it.
The one that I go on, I don't know if that has yours or not, because
probably not.
But you gotta let me know what boats do, because I'll gravitate towards there.
Shit.
You usually go out of Capture, don't you?
Capture, yeah.
Yeah, all of them.
So, Jib,
the Jib has them. The Capture Princess has them. The Capture Bay Princess, that small boat, has them. Greg Gargiulo has them. King Cod has them. The only ones that really don't have them is the Laura Lee fleet, which is probably the boat that you go on.
It is not. I go on the Captain Whitaker.
Oh, Whitaker, yeah. Rich doesn't actually have any of my rods. He has them personally, but not on the boat.
Yeah.
Whitaker's a great guy. I like him. I worked with him a few times.
We that boat we kind of stumbled upon because when we first took my daughter, she was still young, and they do that short afternoon trip, which was great. We didn't have to get up early.
It's like the 3 hour.
We were out there. I think it's a 3-hour trip. It's from like 2 to 5, so it was perfect for her because she didn't have the attention span to be there for that long of a period of time. And then now that she's gotten a little bit older, she's like, "Can we go longer?" And I'm like, "Yes." Yes, we can.
Yes, definitely.
It's like you couldn't have said anything better. Yes, we can go all day if you want.
Does she freshwater fish with you too?
She does. She a lot of times we'll just go and that's honestly when I probably throw conventional the most, is because I'll go with her with a spinning rod and her with a spinning rod, and we'll just catch fish together, as opposed to because when I'm fishing with my daughter, it's not. I got to be paying attention to her more than I'm paying attention to her more than I'm fishing, especially when she's catching them, because she won't take the hook out of the fish's mouth. That's my job. And so I'll take the hook out. Right. I got to cut a piece of worm, put it on the hook. Before I know, I turn around and get my rod. She's like, "I got another one, Dad." I'm like, "Okay." And then you turn around. So
just set up the seat.
And then you turn around to get your rod again. It's like, "I'm tangled. I'm stuck in a tree." It's like, "Oh, okay. Give me a minute.
See, that kind of happened in the beginning with me. Now I purposely try to catch the bigger fish just to rub it in Irie's face. Even though I will give her that I did get my ass handed to me when we went blackfishing. I wouldn't say got my ass handed to me. She did beat me. She won a rod and like
Hey,
fucking
she was in the paper. She was
$1,000.
in the paper, what, 2 years ago? She
I
was
think
in that.
yeah, 2 years
Yeah,
ago
2
she was
years
there.
ago.
She always gets in the paper for something that she's doing.
Well, within the last
I understand.
the last like 4 or 5 years that we've gone on the party boats, the biggest fish that was caught between me, my wife, and my daughter was my daughter. She caught the biggest fluke.
Always.
Yep. So
It's always the people
kid.
who don't know how to fish or kids.
it was
Always.
the funniest thing. She's sitting there.
Unless if Sean's on the boat, and then he's just usually.
My daughter was sitting there.
different.
She goes, "Dad, I want to catch a big fish." I'm like, "Well, you got to keep fishing." She goes, "Okay." And I think she was like 6, maybe.
Yeah.
This was probably about 5 years ago. So she was like, so I'm looking over. She goes, "I think I have one," and the rod is just like, like bent over. I'm like, "Yeah, you got to reel it in." And she's like, "I can't do it." It was the cutest thing in the world. And still to this day at work on my desk, I have a picture of her holding that fish. It's great, and I love that.
What was it, a fluke?
It was a fluke, yeah.
Yeah. Fluke is one of the only fish. It's like sunnies for the freshwater world.
Yeah.
Like you want to take somebody out and guarantee them to catch something, you take them fluke fishing.
Yeah.
Because there's always shorts around. There's always little sea robins, and always you're probably not going to catch a keeper, but they're around. It's just one of those things that keeps the kids active. And that and like snapper fishing because it's consistent. It's nonstop, and it's what draws their attention.
Yep.
Like freshwater, it's all okay. Put a bobber on with a worm and just let them
and
kick the shit out of 700 sunnies.
That's it.
And then when they catch the real small ones, you take them, circle hook, send them out, and hope for a big one.
Yeah. What I hope this year, I want to try to get her out during a trout stocking, because if I want to get her like getting used to like throwing out and like reeling in, throwing out and reeling in with like a little spoon or something like that.
Oh, so that's perfect.
Yeah, that's
because you're off on Wednesdays and they stock on Wednesdays. So as soon as I know what day they're going to stock, and I'll let you know.
A few days I've gone out fishing where I show up to the lake and the trout truck is there and the fishing is fantastic. Yeah, that's happened a couple of times.
A lot of people will say that it's stupid and they shouldn't do it, but plenty of times I've casted my little Castmaster right at the tube that they're shooting the fish down and catching them left and right. I think when I was at Wanto and they were stocked. Me and Sponge had 78.
Jeez.
In a matter of 2 hours time, because it got to the point where we looked at each other and we're like, it's time to fucking go.
Yeah.
This is starting to get boring. It's not even fun anymore.
It's not even fun anymore at that point, right?
He likes to stick around because he's the type of person that will just sit there, have his joint, have his orange juice or OJ, whatever he's bringing with him, and he waits. And he watches the people catch their 4, leave, and then come back. And then he'll go up there and deflate the tires. It's like, all right, cool. You want your 4, take your 4 or your 5, and then go home.
Yeah.
Or play catch and release because you know you're gonna catch him. But he looks for the confrontation. It's hysterical. But whatever. That's just Sponge. We all know who Sponge is.
Yeah, I had a day. I was literally fishing that morning. I swear, man, sometimes the bass know when the trout are coming. They just know.
They just sit there and they just they just swim right there.
I hooked into like a 6.2, I think, that morning. The trout truck showed up 2 hours later, and then like about an hour after the trout truck was there, I hooked into like another high 5. Yeah, I'm like, they were waiting. They knew that we know the food's coming. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, I was at the local spot that we all kind of go to now, at least local to me. And the DEC guy came over and started walking the whole pond around, and he came and asked me. He's like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Good." He's like, "Did you hear what happened last week with the kid?" I was like, "No, what?" He's like, "Oh, we were at Uppy Yaphank and we were stocking it. The kid's sitting on the shoreline. He casts right out into the corner. And he's like, everybody's just sitting there watching all the trout start swimming around. And next thing you know, he's like, this kid lands like a 6.5. And he's like, I didn't even think he was there." And I was like, "There's some big ones in that one." I'm like, you got to find them. I was like, but they're obviously sitting there waiting for the trout because they know that the truck's starting to unload.
But that's like everywhere, though. You listen. You want to throw a bunch of gummy bears every day at 4 o'clock at me. At 4 o'clock, 3:45 comes. I'm going to be looking for my gummy bears.
Yeah.
It's just that if that's what they're eating, that's what they're going to be keened on. And you probably have a swim bait that probably looks like a trout or a glide bait.
A couple of them.
And yeah. And then that's what you're going to throw. If that's what they're eating, it's matching the hatch.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to start using Chinese for our tournaments. But that's
Here we
besides
go.
the point.
Here we go.
Jesus Christ.
Little brown trout
Like,
for you?
really?
Did you bring a ruler so we could like at least know by scale of how big these things are?
I've caught smaller than that. That's
That's my arm.
I- Yeah, I think
Depends,
I think
this is
guys
12
have
this is
submitted
12
bass
inches.
smaller than that.
Yeah, it's a 12-incher.
What's the biggest glide baits you got that you're throwing locally?
That one and this one. That one also. And then there's
like, how are you not scaring fish when that thing hits the water like a ton of bricks?
and then there's this one. So this
You
bait
missing
I
the tail?
got with the tail in it, it's 14 inches long. I think this is the longest one I have. I was actually shocked. I thought I was gonna be throwing that thing for over a year before I caught a fish on it, and I caught one like my second or third trip out with it.
Yeah, so
like, what's the smallest size fish that you're going to be that you found are hitting those big ones?
I mean, the real big ones.
you could probably a 2-pound fish can get that.
You will get them. I mean, I'm trying to think of the smallest fish I've caught. I've caught like fish that were smaller than the bait.
Right.
You know, the baits I have that are like 8-inch baits.
And they're hooked in the mouth.
Yeah,
they're hooked in the mouth or on the outside.
No, they tried to eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've caught.
They're over. Their eyes are too big.
Yeah.
And plus, a small fish can open their mouth so wide. So of course it's gonna. No matter it hits the belly or the head or the tail, it's gonna get hooked to one of those treble hooks.
Yeah. Fish don't really know how big they are. They don't have a mirror to look in. So they see a piece of food.
They're
and
hungry.
Like,
they're
I'm
gonna
going to try to eat that. I mean, that's why every so often you'll see a fish floating with another fish stuck in its mouth because it was too big to actually swallow it. I've seen bass with bluegills
I've
in
seen
their
a
mouth.
ton of videos.
I've seen bass with perch in their mouth. It's they'll eat what they think they can, even if they can't. And on these big baits, a lot of times, sometimes they won't even go to eat it. They headbutt it. So there's times I'm fishing these big baits and I'm sitting there, baits swimming, and all of a sudden I just feel boonk, and there's nothing there. I'm like, one of these things passed by my shirt and I'm hooked. But a fish hits it on the side and nothing. They'll just come up and they'll hit it and they try to stun it. And I think what happens is they try to stun it, and then you just got to keep going because then they'll come back and try to get it again.
Yeah, but now you're throwing that bait, you're lobbing it out. Obviously on a bait cast, obviously on a rod that's like we were talking about, 8, 8.2, 8.3, bigger. When this thing hits the water, it's got to be hitting the water like a giant rock.
Oh, it sounds like
how is it not scaring the fish around it?
Sometimes it actually attracts them. When you're throwing the big,
think about it. Even like
when you're throwing a bigger bait out there and it hits the water, and the fish is like a decent ways away, they're like, "What the hell was that?" And they're curious. Fish are curious. They'll kind of start coming over to see what is that, and then all of a sudden they see this big 12-inch bait just swimming along, and they start following it. You can't tell you how many times on those big baits, 1, 2, 3, 4 bass are behind it.
What do you think happens like if a fish misses top water? There's going to be an explosion up top. It's really no different, They're used to it more than you think.
I just see it like shit. Like you throw this big ass like fucking Red Bull can out there with treble hooks on it. If there's something like you happen to land it right on his head, he's gonna be like, "Oh fuck," and then take off.
There's been times
a lot of time, like
there's times I've thrown a bigger bait out, it splashes the water, and like instantly a fish hits it because it lands right in their head, and out of natural reaction, they just go up and hit it. It doesn't scare them; they react, and just like you ever throw like a frog like on a pad and like instantly it gets hit.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. You've been in our chats.
Frog yet.
Me and Sam. Well, Sam has better blowups than I have, but I don't fish a conventional water frog. I fish a spinning rod, but a heavy spinning rod.
Yeah.
Now they got some guys that do it either or. I think I counted over 100 blowups.
I got a couple phone calls and said, I fish a frog with a spinning rod. And I'm like, well, don't tell Sean.
Yeah, but the only fucking thing that I caught a frog on a frog.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I ever caught on a frog.
Which
is a whole nother story.
So the fish that I caught on the frog that got me back into bass fishing during COVID was on a spinning rod. It was on.
It's more comfortable with me the way I fish to fish with a spinning rod. That's just not that I have conventionals. I throw like with drop shotting. I was using conventional too. It's just I feel more comfortable popping that frog because I'm used to top water popping for like tuna or striped bass or bluefish. It feels like the same for me, so I'm more comfortable doing it that way.
It is similar because of the the way that you're twitching the bait is a similar feel than if you're working like a popper or something like that, or like a walking bait, like top like a big spook, or any type of big top water like stick bait. But I have better accuracy casting with a bait caster than I do with a spinning rod,
Really?
which is the reason why I prefer a bait caster most of the time. Because if I'm going to be throwing a frog, a lot of times I'm not just launching into I'm looking to try to get it exactly in that hole in the pads over there, or try to skip it underneath, like the overhanging branches over there. Or I try to be more accurate with it, unless you're fishing just like a giant slop. If you're fishing like actual like slop, I have this so years ago. What I used to do with I was really really big into frog fishing when I fished conventional. If you come up to a spot where it's just a whole bunch of slop, I would bomb cast, and like I'd work it quick. People would be like, "Why are you working a frog that fast?" Until you see movement because if they're under there, if a bass moves, you see the whole entire, um,
The pads floating.
everything just like start moving. And then once I saw that, I would kill it and just not touch it. And I let it sit there for like sometimes 1 to 2 minutes. Just let it sit there. And then I'd pop it once or twice and just let it sit. Because what's happening is you got the bass's attention. That's why you suddenly saw the movement in the slop on the water, and then it's tracking it. So the slight movements is when it's going to start getting closer, and then eventually it's going to be right underneath it. And the moment you twitch it is when that thing is just going to get blown up on. And that's, I mean, I absolutely love frog fishing. I feel like I suck at it now because I don't do it anymore. But that hit on a frog,
That's the way I feel.
when you get that hit on a frog and you set the hook and it's a 5-pounder and you're pulling a 5-pounder through 50 pounds of
Through the
grass,
muck.
and you're like, you get to there and you're like, I don't even know there's a fish in here anymore. Then all of a sudden you see the tail flopping around. It's the coolest thing. That's,
I love the blow up. Like I will cast and cast and cast for the blow up, and just they're never good.
that's one of the reasons.
I had the one that ate the frog that because it was a pickerel.
Yeah,
That it just bit the frog off, and it bit through 40-pound braid.
yeah,
Just annihilated it. And then I had 1 or 2 on. Sam literally hooked one and shot one out of the water, and then never got it to the boat. Like got it out of the weeds and just went, and then just fell right back in the water. It's just, I like that. Like, don't get me wrong, worm fishing and all that other stuff. If I'm fishing live bait, because I like the way like I can feel the hit and I can watch the run. Like working a worm, like it's just like, okay, cool. The line moved. Okay, set the hook.
Yeah.
Like it's fun, but it's not fun to watch something and like watch them hunt.
yeah.
Like they're chasing a bait, like
No.
or they're exploding on something.
Frog fishing has definitely got like your attention a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like even when we fish with the minnows, you could feel like you can watch the minnow like move the rod. Next thing you know, it's like, and it moves fast. Like, he saw something he doesn't want to get eaten by, so something's chasing his ass. And the next thing you know, the reel explodes up and takes off. I like that portion of it. But I'll still frog fish.
Well, that's the thing with glide bait fishing is it's very visual. A lot of times when you're fishing a glide bait, especially if you're in the kayak and you're standing up in the kayak or on a boat, you're sitting there and the glide baits, they're usually fairly close to the surface. When you're fishing a glide bait a few feet below the surface, you can see it. And it's just, you see the swimming and you'll see the fish come up behind it. Me and Brian went to Mayopac last year for our first trip there was disastrous.
Yeah.
But our second trip there,
yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, that trip was
kind of failed.
The batteries in the boat died. It was horrible. But we maybe casted baits for about 15 minutes and we hooked into 3 fish and we're like, we got to come back here. But we went up there and we were fishing, and he was throwing drop shots, he was throwing conventional, he was throwing stuff. I was throwing swim baits, and I was killing them on the big swim baits. Everywhere from a 6-inch bait up to a 10-inch bait. And he wasn't, and they weren't even looking at his baits. But you were seeing, I was at times I had 4 or 5 fish going after the same bait. Still didn't manage to get a hook.
That's crazy.
But I'm really watching multiple fish hitting the bait. Like,
so you got 3 treble hooks, which is 9 hooks, and they're beating the shit out of the bait, and not one of them is going to snag him in the face.
Nope, nothing. But like you'll
so
see that
the next bait that comes out of my tackle box is a bunker snagger, and I'm going to throw it out there and snag one.
But it's
That place is great though.
that
That place, there's just so many fish.
that is.
You were throwing those glide baits in what, deeper water, or you were closer to the shoreline?
We were actually we found that it was the fall, and the bass were relating to the rock. If you found rock, you found bass. That's what we figured out, and like literally to the point.
Well, that's like that one day with us.
Literally to the point where like I was on the trolling motor, and I wasn't even making casts unless I saw rock, and I'd make a cast, and a fish would come out and hit the bait. Like if you found like rock that would come out a little bit further, they were just sitting on the rock. Like to the point where like we would anchor the boat up. I'm like, I'm gonna fish this rock line, fish the rock line, get hit, and I was like, okay, throw it on the other side of the rock line, get hit, catch a couple fish, but okay, move away down. I'm like, oh, I see a rock line over here, throw a bait up there, get hit. It was like to the point where like
I love that lake.
But
I really do. I love that lake.
That bite I had that day was like dialed into like I knew exactly where to throw a bait to get hit, and like I caught I think 8 or 9 bass that day. I missed probably 20 others. It was just one of those days where where it was just like I knew where they were, and we were able to like just find the spot and catch fish. But there were times where those big baits were pulling 3 or 4 fish. They just come follow it in and come up to the boat. I had an absolute giant follow. I was trying to use live scope. I suck with live scope. I've tried it a few times. I was trying to use it. So
I seem to only find white perch.
Did you see that link that I sent out this morning?
I did not.
With Kyle Patrick?
Yes.
So Kyle Patrick today, his live feed today, it's incredible on like the way he's showing everything on his screen with like live scope and them fishing down in Okeechobee. It's insane the way that whole setup is doing a live feed right now. And I think that's going to show a lot of guys like the whole forward facing sonar and like the fish don't just jump in the boat, but it takes a lot of work and understanding of it to use it properly. But it's definitely something that is pretty cool to watch when you're not just watching the back of somebody's head looking down on a screen.
I agree. There's tournaments where they do have a bunch of live scope fishing that they should show the screen because it's more entertaining that way than it is just watching the back of someone's head. But with the live scope fishing, I saw like a group of fish. I throw one of these big baits out to it, and I see them following it, and I'm like, oh wow, they're following. Meanwhile, I don't realize how close I'm getting to the boat. I literally look up for the first time, and there was like 5 fish following my bait. I could see them. I could see my bait. I see the fish, and there was an absolute giant on it. And I'm like, oh my god! And then like like that's what like
but when you're fishing those big glide baits at Mayapack, and you're throwing a 10-inch bait, and you're watching these fish come up and hit it and not get hooked, do you keep throwing the same bait, or should you say,
yeah, man,
fuck it, let me downsize to a 6 or an 8 or 6 or a 5 or 6 inch, and maybe they'll hit that.
I kept throwing the same big bait because one, I wanted to catch a fish on it, and 2, it was pulling more. The bigger baits were pulling more fish than the smaller baits were. Now I still caught them on
bigger
smaller
baits. Sometimes attract more.
But the whole trip, like I found the whole entire trip is they were. So there's different styles of glide baits. So there's ones that are like choppier, like quick, almost like a jerk bait. Like when you're working a jerk bait, it goes.
Okay.
So there's baits that are like that. Usually they tend to be smaller, and they're designed to be worked fast. And there's other baits that are designed to be worked slow, where it's just that slow swim. And then there's other baits that are designed to like really be burned in. So that day we found that they were really focusing on that slow swimming bait. And, a lot of those slow swimming baits tend to be a little bit on the bigger side than the smaller ones, just because to get that swim, you need to have the mass behind the bait in order to get that type of swim.
But you control that swim with the way that you're using the rod.
The way that
so it's all technique.
Either your rod or the reel. It depends. Like certain baits work better when you have when you do a little pump of the rod. Certain baits work better when you do a little like more of like a reel bump with your reel.
That's why you'll watch them, and then they stop, and then they'll keep going, and you just watch the bait just kind of like just slap back and forth.
Exactly.
So you think that in Mayapack they were smallmouth or largemouth chasing those? glide baits more?
I trying to remember if I caught any smallies. I don't know if I caught any smallies that day on the glide baits. I think it was all the largemouth I was catching.
Yeah, but I feel like the smallmouth are more aggressive than the largemouth.
I've
Oh,
caught.
yeah.
I think I've caught smallmouth on glide. Smallmouth love glide baits. They will eat them. I have not caught them on anything like big, but I've heard stories of 4-pound smallies hitting 10-inch baits. Most people don't
Yeah.
think a smallie
But
will hit a
typically
bait that
those
big.
smallies are deep anyway. Those smallmouths in Mayapack, we caught them in the shallows too, but that's
Yeah.
a primarily deeper fish. Like those largemouth were down that deep, but we caught a lot of more largemouth up closer to the bank than we did.
They're on the rock on the ledges.
But they like structure. They're like the freshwater blackfish.
Yeah,
Like they want structure. They like hiding somewhere.
I found this somebody had made a reel. I don't even remember who the person was. I said this to a few of my friends. It was funny. It said like the difference between a smallmouth and a largemouth, and it showed like a pile of rock and a smallmouth just like like on the rock, and then it showed like tree branches and the largemouth just being like looking out from the tree branches because it's really true.
It's perfect.
Like smallmouth love rock, and they're like little crackheads. They're like, whoo, whoo. It's like,
Yeah.
what is that over there? Oh, I'm gonna eat it, and then they just go eat. And the fight on a smallmouth is amazing. I use a guide up in Candlewood Lake. His name's Terry Baxay. He's a absolute amazing fisherman. He was he fished with BASS for a long time. He's a great guide. If you want to get on some big smallmouth at Candlewood Lake, go fish with him. I know you like fishing live bait. In the fall, in the cold months, he'll bring out live bait, and you'll just wreck 5-pound smallies all day. But
Yeah, I'm all about that. I'm all about that.
I've never had more fun than fishing with him and catching 5+ pound smallmouth out of 25, 30 foot of water on light line. That fight is some of the best fighting fish ever. When you pull a 5-pound smallmouth,
My first one that I caught with you came flying out of the water.
The first time me and him went together on Mayapack, we literally went there and we were casting basically the same bait, same fucking setup, right on either side of the boat, and we were right off the island. And he's catching only smallmouth, and I'm only catching largemouth.
I was blind casting.
We didn't even understand that. I'm like, why can't I fucking catch a smallmouth? And he's like, how are you catching the largemouth? I'm only doing it. I'm like, I don't know. This makes absolutely no sense.
I was fishing those power gold baits, the ones that look like little minnows.
Yeah.
They're like the 3 or the 4 inch. A lot of guys use them for trout. I had that on a what is it, drop shot?
Yeah.
And I would just blind cast out, and then I'd work it like fluke fishing. I can't see what he's seeing, so I would cast upstream and just bounce it back to me. And next thing you know, I got freight trained, and I'm like, well, what the hell is this? And next thing you know, I'm watching the line. Every bass I've ever caught stayed right next to the boat. This one decided to take off like a sailfish and come flying out of the water. Lost my mind, and I'm hooked. And then we bought all the minnows at the bait shop and came back out and beat on them.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's what draws me to that.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I've caught them on the artificials. It's great. It's fun. You really have to use the artificials here. A couple like the kids that are doing it, fishing with the shiners now, are doing really good with it. It's just, there's nothing like watching a fish hunt. Like you throw a worm out there, he's just eating it.
Yeah.
Like he's just eating it. You throw it in his face, he eats it. You watch the line, you set back. You toss a live shiner out there, or something like a big glide bait where he has to hunt it. Then you watch them in like their natural habitat, and that's just that's what draws me into it all the time. It's the same thing for bluefish. It's the same thing for striped bass. You throw a popper off a beach or on a boat. I know I said beach. I'm gonna say boat again. But if you throw it and you watch it and you watch them come flying out of the water, that's the thrill. I don't care if they're big or not. It's just the thrill of watching them explode on a bait. To me, that's the best.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I actually really enjoy, especially around here in the summer, throwing like the bigger wake baits. It's like a big bluegill style wake bait. I'll show you one right here. That's one of my favorites I throw. Give me 1 second here.
Don't hook yourself.
Probably will. So when you want to talk about before, you talk about big baits eating small fish eating big baits. So that's a bluegill bait that I like to throw.
Jesus Christ!
This is
like what?
This is like it's a 7 ounce. I think it's about 7-8 inch bluegill style bait.
Sam would be in heaven right now if she caught bluegills that big, regardless of it actually being a fake bait.
I was fishing a lake one day. I caught I found fish eating bugs off the surface of a lake. I threw that thing out. I caught about 4 or 5 fish in 15 minutes. All of them were maybe about a pound, pound and a half. Eating that thing.
That's fucking crazy.
This is the same bait, just in a.
See, but
this is the same type of bait, just in a glide bait form.
see, my whole thing is like, granted, I understand kind of the struggle, I guess, because I got spreader bars that are done by either Chatterbait or Sterling that are my side trackers that are $300, $400, $500 for a side tracker. But I'm not going to lose that in a tree. I'm going to lose it on a fish. I'm okay with that if that's what happens. But I'm fishing 150-pound leader, 200-pound leader crimp. Highly likely I'm going to lose that. It's going to be because a rod or reel fails. I'm not that good at casting like that on a boat. I'm sending that bitch right into an oak tree. And then I'm going to have to climb a tree as a fat guy to go get a goddamn bait out of the water, out of the tree. I can't do it. I can't put it in me to cast a bait that's $500 or $300. Knowing that a pickerel's going to come up and eat it and fucking destroy it.
Well, most of the baits that are that expensive, even if a pickerel will eat it, unless they bit it right on the freaking line, he's not gonna knock that bait off.
But then he's destroying the paint job. He's messing the clear coat.
So now, what line size are you using?
I mainly throw 20-pound test. Is like most of my rods have 20-pound test. I can't tell you how many spools of 20-pound test line I actually have, whether it's fluorocarbon, monofilament, or copoly. On the really, really big stuff, I bump it up to 25-pound test. On the smaller stuff,
that's braid. No braid or all fluorocarbon?
Fluorocarbon. I don't throw braid on the big baits at all.
Wow. Okay.
And then on the smaller baits that are like, let's see.
The smaller ones.
I love the fact he's got him hanging like I have my fishing poles at the house.
So smaller bait like this size, like a 6-7 inch bait, I'll throw 15.
Smaller. Small. 6-7 inch bait.
Well, I just got this one actually the other day. So that right there. So this is like a 5-inch bait. This I got specifically for smallmouth because that's going to be like a smallmouth killer. The chartreuse. I don't know if you see it. The sun's
it kind of has that shiner look.
Yeah. Yep. But the smaller stuff I throw 15-pound, and then if I go the really small stuff like this, I'll do it on like 12.
I see. Now that would freak me out. It's just, granted, those baits are probably not particularly on the expensive side, but they are ones that are fucking stupid money.
Well, I mean, they'll still. I mean, the cheapest. The one out of all those I showed, the cheapest is $110 of those baits. I mean,
it's fucking no.
What do you mean? That's not expensive.
No,
that's
for your world. That's not expensive.
To me, it's not expensive.
That's like I just can't do it. I could buy it because my fishing addiction goes real deep. I just can't. I can't physically throw it. No. Like I could have it in a tackle box. Like you came over and I'd be like, hey, look what I got, and I'm just not going to use it.
Listen, when you lose,
it's more
when you lose that first $300 bait, it hurts. The 4th or 5th one doesn't feel as bad anymore.
Oh, jeez.
That's fucking nuts.
My problem is that who has ever fished with me knows that I have a really short temper and I get angry really fast. And I just don't think losing another $300 bait would increase me being happy.
What's the difference between a $300 bait and a $250 reel and the rod that's probably worth about $200?
Because I can
in the water.
I can rebuild the rod. I can have
really
do that. All right. So we had an incident that I broke through rods and threw them in the water. That's just what I do.
There's a Stratic sitting in Fort Pond right now.
There's
so everybody knows. Two.
Yeah. There's also
on 2 custom rods.
There's also a Stratic sitting in an Artist Lake right now too.
Oh yeah,
off the back of my kayak.
But did you do that? Yeah, see, I did.
It fell off. He threw it in.
I broke the rods and threw them in the water.
So yeah,
I keep telling him, break the rod and throw the rod in. Just take the reel off first.
Yeah, I had it was one of the first times I was out in my kayak when I first got it, and the kayak crate had like a top on it, and I opened up the top, and it hit the bottom of a reel and just popped the rod of the reel, phew, right into the lake.
Oh, my brother. My fucking asshole brother did that shit to me on the Pro line. Brand new St. Croix, brand new 4000 Stratic. The way the back on the Pro line, there's 2 coolers on the inside. The rod holder's right there. He put the reel towards in, lifted the fucking cooler up, and the rod went, I'm like, are you serious? You got to pay for it? No, you got plenty of them. Fuck you. It's just how it is. I get it. I've lost shit on accident,
Yeah.
but I've also purposely broke a ton of shit too. It is what it is. We all know I have anger management issues, especially when it comes to fishing, because there's plenty of times where you're probably out fishing saying that I know they're here, I know I'm throwing the right bait, I'm just not getting the correct bait, like the correct hit. Like and you know when you perfect conditions, perfect clarity, wind's perfect, everything's just too right, and you're not catching. That pisses you the fuck off.
Yeah.
So I know when I'm there, I'm watching the bait on live scope. I'm watching them come up, going, and I'm not feeling any hits. So don't tell me they're not there, and they piss me off. And I know it, and I don't want the little bleep to hit it. I want the big bleep to hit it. And it angers me. So I break things and I throw it. It's better than me breaking other things. Like I'd rather just break the rod, throw it in the water,
Well,
call
that's
it a
like
day.
when, you know how we went the beginning of December, we went to Middle River
Mhm.
and fished in the cold and didn't catch shit with
Yep.
Greg. And then the following week, it was just me and Greg that bet each other out in Montauk, and we went to
And you
Hidden.
caught nothing.
No, I beat Greg.
Oh, that's right. You did beat Craig.
Greg caught probably like the first 3 fish, and I had nothing except for like maybe one little tiny one. And he was just sitting there, and I saw him catching a couple of them. I'm like, anything good? And he's like, nah, just all like pounds and a half. So I was just like, I was really getting pissed off then. I was ready to just take off and leave soon. Next thing you know, I'm like throwing a tube, and I just let it sit. And next thing you know, he was like right in front of me, and I just yank on it. I was like, well, there's 2.5 pounds. And I hit 2 more of them, and I was just like, all right, I feel better about myself now.
But you have to be the type of person that can,
You have to have the patience for it.
right, that you can like kind of like break off and know that, all right, cool, I know I'm doing it right. Maybe I should just switch up the bait. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
If I'm throwing the bait and I know that we're throwing the same bait and I know for sure that you're catching them and I'm not catching them, I'm either breaking your shit or breaking my shit. And I just rather break my shit.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. If we're doing the exact same shit, and that's happened when we were in APAC. I was throwing the exact same thing you were. I was catching them, you weren't. You were literally casting right next to me.
Yeah.
It's just you have to break yourself away from that and just continue fishing.
Well,
And
I
that's the
think
same
it's
thing with
also-
tournaments.
Yeah.
That's what we got back with the whole tournament of watching it. Like, I don't think you should watch people and what they do. You haven't fished any of the CPR stuff with us, right?
No.
I did.
So with the whole,
I did one
He did a monthly.
with Brian. Not this past year, the year before.
Yeah.
right, that was before me.
Yeah.
I just like that's the thing that we always talked about is like with that whole CPR thing where you can take a picture, you can go on the app and see what people are catching, where they're catching them, like, and it fucks you up because it mindsets you. So you have to be that type of person to be like, okay, I don't give a shit what they're doing. I just have to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But prime example, like Montauk, like I was chasing the junkfish category. That's what I wanted. I could care less about the bass. I just wanted a trophy that's a junkfish.
Yeah.
And I was chasing somebody. I wasn't typically going for him because I was already in the lead. But then I watched somebody catch one. So now it made me take my whole game from catching bass now to trying catching junk. And it fucked with my head the whole day. And that's when I kept breaking shit.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I've talked to Brian before when about the tournaments, and I fished like a couple of tournaments. I fished one with that guy, the guy that I use up in Connecticut. And me and him have become very good friends, and I fished a tournament with him before, and it's just one of those things where it's like I just try to go out there and fish and catch fish. I don't care what other people are doing. I'm just out there to try to catch fish. If I do good, then I do good. If
Right.
if I don't, I don't. I'm just out there to fish. But as tournaments are so very different, especially when you're doing a 1-day tournament. It's so different than if you're fishing, like the month longs that I do, or the month longs with, it's you got to figure out what they're doing that day. You got to be on them that day.
Yeah, but you could go 2 weeks of just figuring out the pattern, and then the third week just go key in on what they're
Correct.
doing,
That's-
and
that's why I said
perfect.
the monthlies are so very different than than a 1-day tournament.
A single day.
But
Yeah.
usually, like when I have fished a few tournaments, the goal is get your 5 fish, Don't make a difference what size those 5 fish are. Get your 5 fish right away. Get them in the boat. Once you have the 5 fish, then you start hunting for the bigger ones. You still try to put a pattern together, but you gotta get getting the 5 fish is the most important part. And then once you have that, then you start upgrading. That's
because most of the guys aren't really catching 5. Some of them are catching 5, some are catching 4, some are 3.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's right. Catch the 5 and then start calling them out.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. Like, listen,
sometimes
if you can find fish and you're catching 5 12-inch fish, get your 5 12-inch fish. You'll stumble across some bigger ones here or there, or you can catch your 5 12-inch. But great, I got my limit. Let me start go hunting for bigger ones. Because if you can you got to fill out that limit first, and then start hunting for the bigger fish. I know if I were to ever fish a tournament, like that's what my goal would be, is get your 5, and then I'd start throwing the bigger stuff to try to get. But you
that big lunker
to get and then but that's the so. That's my mentality. If I were to be doing a fishing tournament, is get those 5. Don't care about the big fish yet. Care about the 5. Get the 5, and around here in Long Island, sometimes getting 5 is difficult. But it all depends on where you're fishing.
Well, catching 5 fish isn't difficult. Catching 5 fish at 12, that's the hard part. You can catch a couple at 12 or a couple bigger ones, but you're going to catch a lot of 8s. 9s, 10s,
or the white perch.
All white perch. Fuck you. You're gonna catch a lot of them. I did listen. I told you. I am quite content where I placed for my first year doing it.
You did good.
I'm quite content with it. It was a whole. I freshwater fished growing up, Massapequa, Twin Lakes, Mill Pond, all that stuff. But I fished for the bullshit. I fished for the crappie, the sunnies. Cool. I caught a bass. Like, I didn't know you could legitimately target these things. I didn't think there was that many in the lakes. Until I started hanging out with this group, and now thousands of dollars more in a hole because of everything I have to switch over, and now 5 boats instead of 1. So yeah, I just can't do things normal. It just has to be to the extreme.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't see spending that much money on glide baits.
What's the difference between spending that much money on a glide bait or going out and buying $300 worth of tackle? Because you're getting more items for your $300.
You got me.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
you got me.
Like, if I don't go,
it lasts longer, Dave. As long as it stays in the boat, it lasts longer.
I don't.
Oh no! See, you only take me with 2 bags now. Now I have a whole boat to put shit in.
Yeah,
a bigger boat. We're all fucked.
Yeah, so I used to be that way. Like, I'd go on Tackle Warehouse, and it was never $50. It was never $100.
No, because you got to make the free shipping,
Correct,
so you got to do at least 100.
So before you know it, you're up to $200, $300, and you're buying a bunch of stuff. And honestly, out of that $300, how much of it are you actually using?
How much do you use? Yeah,
and the rest of it sit in the tackle box, sit on a shelf. I spent $300 on one bait. But guess what? I'm going out and I'm throwing that one bait all day long.
But that's like the classic thing. You buy every fucking worm known to imagine. And we all know that between me and you, we have every goddamn color, every worm. And now being hooked up with Fit and Lee, we have everything at our disposal. We fish the same for.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well just bring the same fucking for. But I try to fish something new because I figured if the bass sees the same watermelon worm every day, it's going to be like, I ain't going to fucking eat that. But if he sees something different, maybe he just turns around and be like, cool, I want that. That's my mentality of it. Obviously, it doesn't fucking work because Greg throws the same shit every day and catches them. But whatever. That's Greg.
Listen,
that was a whole nother episode.
When I do fish conventional stuff, I'm very basic when it comes to conventional gear. I fish if it's going to be a worm, it's either green pumpkin or black and blue. If it's a jig, it's either some form of green pumpkin or black and blue.
Black and blue.
If it's anything plastic, it's either green pumpkin or black and blue. If there's a little bit different flake in it, it doesn't make a difference to me. I just honestly, I just feel like green pumpkin, black and blue. I don't get crazy when it comes to colors. I never have. When it comes to like spinner baits, it's either
white
and chartreuse, or white, maybe a blue kill color. But I keep things so simple. Chatterbaits, white, black and blue, green pumpkin. That's it. I don't care about all the other stuff.
Yep.
That's
simple.
what works here. That's the island colors.
That's everywhere.
Literally you can go everywhere.
Yeah.
You can go down in Okeechobee right now and they're throwing fucking white.
They're throwing white, black and blue, Green pumpkin. And they just
If it's clear water, like you might not be throwing the black and blue, you might be throwing the white.
or the green pumpkin.
See, but now that kind of but that kind of dictates like the whole scenario of salt water. Like if you got clarity and water that's extremely clear, wouldn't you want to throw a darker color to throw the contrast off? On a cloudy water day, wouldn't you want to throw something brighter so they see it? At least that's how it is like when I fish.
Yeah.
I saw these saltwater ones.
That's when you throw white.
But a lot of these Did you see the new ones that came out that I've never even heard of? The color changing?
I actually had baits years ago that were color changing, and they change color depending on the temperature of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, this goes by UV, color, and temperature.
Yeah.
So it varies between like 7 or 8
I
different
remember when it
colors.
was colder, they would turn more red.
It's a pretty cool idea, but I think it's just another one of those things just to grab the
That's
fisherman.
catching the fisherman, not
Hey,
catching the
buy
fish.
this.
But that's everything.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
everything.
I will
You
try
walk
it.
around ICAST, that's exactly what it's all about. It's
Oh, I
grabbing
can't
the
wait.
fishermen.
I want to go to ICAST.
I'd love to
wanna
go
go
to an
this year.
ICAST.
You go to any of these shows. That's one. We're going to the classic this year,
Oh, you guys are going?
and I'm looking. Yeah, I'm looking
not.
forward to walking the show and everything.
I'll be in
But
Rhode Island.
ICAST is one of them that I really would like to do.
So the problem with ICAST, then not everybody gets in.
No, it's only for media
If you're
and
going
for
to the
companies.
classic, there might be I might have a mission for you.
You got it.
There's going to be a couple of swim bait guys there, swim bait makers there that I'm not able to get down there. If you can grab me a bait, I might have to send you with a pocket full of cash.
That's fine. We'll figure it out.
That's what they make Venmo for.
Yeah,
Instant.
That's it. Yeah.
But that's like there's a fishing expo that's going to be in was it Massachusetts 2 weekends? Not this weekend, the weekend after. The Northeast Fishing Expo.
Yeah.
Me and Brian went there 2 years ago, maybe 3. I think I ended up dropping like $1,500 on baits that day.
That's Marlboro, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, that's Marlboro.
Yeah, we got there like
that's
That's
primarily
the New England one, right?
Yeah, it's in Massachusetts. It's more of the Keene of the freshwater guys.
Yeah.
They do have some saltwater guys there, but the one that's up there for saltwater is Rissa, which is the Rhode Island one.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, we went up there.
Massachusetts is great.
Yeah, we went up there. We waited on line outside in the cold for like 2 hours before they opened the doors. We got in. Like I said, I think within like a half hour, I spent like $1,000 on fishing baits. It was like
on what, like 2 of them?
I was specifically going for certain baits that were there, and we hit this one place, and we went to a next spot. Within like a half hour, 40 minutes, I was like, wow, I just spent a ton of money. And I have like handfuls of baits. And I'm like, we ended up putting everything back in the...
See, that's when you got to let me know what guy you want to go to. And then I call one of the vendors that are there and you buy it before the doors even open.
Well, there you go.
Just saying. Just saying, because I know there's got to be somebody up there that we deal with that are in that show. Or we can always get passes and get in before everybody else.
Yeah.
But that's like I was saying with ICAST. You can't. It's not a consumer show.
No,
ICAST.
And there's nothing being sold there.
ICAST is just about.
You can't buy anything.
No, ICAST is just about like displaying new baits and things that are coming out. The classic is a different story. The classic is where you can go there.
Right.
Classic is a big
stuff.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are guys that have set up vendors outside. Like they got tents and shit like that.
No. This is a huge two-story freaking. It's in a whole huge complex.
It's a big.
There's 2 floors.
It's in a big convention
it's
center.
Huge. Like every single big company is there. You'll see all the pros that aren't fishing the classic are in there talking because they basically have to work. Like this is one where even some of the MLF guys are going to the classic just to work the show.
They work the sponsors. Yeah.
Well, see, now I really want to go.
Yeah, it's a really big show.
It screws with us because it's the same weekend as Edison.
Oh.
So we'll be there at the show at Edison selling stuff. But
well, Dave, if you want to come,
I
do have an empty truck, and I got an extra bed at the hotel.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Me and my daughter. So I'm just saying. You let me know.
Let me know text me the dates, and I'll see if I can get off.
I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving Thursday, the 12th, I believe, and then I'm coming home Monday.
This is March, right?
March. Yes, I'm leaving March the 12th.
All right.
The classic starts the 13th, and I'm leaving Monday.
Okay. I'll talk to my boss tomorrow when I'm at work, and I will probably be joining you. And
Okay.
let me talk to my other
Fuck
boss
no.
when she gets home from
Yeah, you
work.
got the main boss. Yeah.
Make sure she's okay with that. But if I could get down there, that would be
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
right now it's me. Right now it's me and Kelly driving down.
All right.
So
See, my other boss is behind the wall that we're right here, and if I leave her at
that's the
Edison by
producer
herself,
supervisor.
she probably would kill me in my sleep.
She has told you already that.
I can't do that to her. That's fucked up. Hey, don't get me wrong. There's a ton of people at Edison that, God forbid, if something ever happened, they would not even have a shot in hell. The person would probably be cut up into a million pieces if something ever happened to her. I just can't physically go down there and be like, hey, take the business, go have fun. Like, I just can't do that to her. It's kind of fucked up, but I can't.
Yeah, no, I would love to get to the classic. So let me see if I can make that work. If I can make that work, I will. I'll come with you.
There's only one major classic a year, or one like that.
No, one classic a year.
Yeah,
That's it.
MLF has their Red Crest, which they have something similar, but it doesn't draw as much as the
It's not
classic
drawing
does.
enough people.
So
No.
you're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people there.
There's
Probably
tons
hundreds
of people come
thousands,
through
maybe.
there every.
Tons of people. I don't think it's millions.
What-
I don't think that there is millions of that big of supporters for the whole industry.
But you're talking about there's 100 people, if not,
Oh yeah,
there's 100 people on the water on
100
boats,
people.
probably 200 because they all have a
No,
co-angler,
I
right?
feel like
Or
Oh
they're
no,
by
no,
themselves.
they're by themselves.
yeah, I feel like there's at least a few
There's only
100,000
60
that come
boats,
through
I
the
think.
convention center.
That's pretty cool.
There's like 60 or 70 boats. It's not even 100.
Are you
See,
going
but now
to
that
the?
would be so.
Are you doing the weigh-in and everything too?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna try and hit as much as I can. This is kind of we're doing a whole thing going down there. So
All right,
See, but now I would turn around like next year if it's that good.
it's okay, Rousey.
Fuck it, don't do Edison. Load up the fucking truck and drive to Tennessee.
but it's not always in Tennessee. They change location every year.
Yeah,
Oh,
So
okay.
you have to see where like the next one is. That's why Tennessee is like one that's close enough where I'd like to go and hit.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't ever do them here around here,
No.
so
It's always in the
south.
spring and it's south. Yeah.
All right, so you either got whatever, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, shit like that, Alabama,
Texas.
Texas. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
you okay?
So I want to ask you guys. I want to ask you specifically a question. What do you think about Blydenberg and this whole thing? Because I know we didn't get a chance to really actually say our mind because of what happened
Like,
and us taking care of someone else.
like what do I think
Actually,
about what's going on?
Do you think
right
it should
now?
be rebuilt? Do you think it should be left?
No,
Do you think it's all bullshit? Do you think somebody's waiting for a suitcase of money?
I personally think the reason why nothing has happened yet is because there's a lot to do with like you said before, permits and this and that, and the right people have to give the okay, and how to get that okay. Is it a matter of hold on a second, I got a guest coming in here.
It's a puppy.
So the right people got to give the okay, Okay, you right there, little girl? You okay? Okay. So it's a matter of just getting everything like going, and it just seems like that's taking forever. And then you have this group of environmentalists that are trying to make things the way they were before the lake existed, which is never going to happen. The world is a different place than it was 200 years ago. The area around the lake is different than it was 200 years ago. It's never going to go back to the same way it was. It just won't happen.
I can see that.
Like,
well, we all know that you're for it because
I'm
you're a
100%
fisherman.
for
And
it.
why
That
wouldn't
place
you
should
be?
be rebuilt. The lake should fill up, and we should stock it with some of the best bass there is, and every other fish species that was there, and we should get that place back to the glory it was, so that my kids, my grandkids can enjoy what I got to enjoy. I think it's ridiculous that this is even a question, to be honest with you, to whether to fix it or not. Like, what's the question? Like, why would we not fix it? This is a county park. This is
Well, you're always going to have a tree hugger here and there that wants to. That's what I said in that post. I don't know if you saw it.
The problem is that they have too much money backing and they have too much push from the outside coming in. there was some lady I haven't even I approved the post because I started to read it, but I haven't really gotten to the most of it. But she had posted something that there's these videos going up around from the outside of Long Island right now
Yeah.
of all these people pushing to have this dam not be built. And they're all outsiders of not even
Yeah,
locals.
no,
Like,
yeah, they have no,
stay out of it.
they have no
Like,
skin.
we don't
Yeah,
get involved with Connecticut's dams.
yeah,
Like, why the hell are you getting involved with the Long Island dam? Shut the hell up and get out.
exactly.
I don't get it anymore.
It's just,
But there's supposed to be another meeting that I guess this that board that we saw before we left last week.
yeah,
They're supposed to be meeting next Wednesday, January the 28th at 9 a.m.
okay.
Is it open to the public?
I believe it is. I'm getting confirmation on all of it, and I'm going to make a post about it. But supposedly they're trying to limit it, which I still don't understand this whole part. They're going to limit it to people that didn't get to speak.
Okay.
On the last one, they're giving a second opportunity. Why we're continuing on with having all these public statements, I think that
I
everybody
wonder
is,
if they turn around, because I said to him, I was like, it's real nice that the people that wanted to speak were outside saving a life
well,
and they couldn't do anything. That's probably why they're
think
doing the second one.
I think Newsday is getting a little shit from them making their whole article, and they weren't even there either.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot going on, and I think that we're going to try to get there and push to get it done. It's going to be at the same place again at 9 a.m. on the 28th.
Okay.
So we're just going to do a big show out again. I think the 28th is a Wednesday. I'm not positive.
Should I bring a CPR,
no.
first aid, AED with me in a backpack?
I would hope. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is on a Wednesday.
Yes.
So, Dave, you should be off again.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So that's all right. So, I mean, we're going to try and get people there. And I don't know. I feel like this whole thing, these guys have drawn this whole thing out and given the opportunity for everybody to continue to put their 2 cents in after they're claiming that the funding is there, the job was approved by the county, they're willing to pay for it. They went and did this entire report and did all the plans and spent all this money on the plans and all these people to do a plan for this dam to be rebuilt. Why are we still talking about not doing it? Like,
And it can't be about money.
move forward.
My buddy had a perfect scenario of this. If they got what, 6.5, 6.6 million, something like that, they were saying, it's not sitting in a safe or in somebody's closet. You have to open an account. An account on that type of money is a high interest account. So that money is making money every month that they got. So that's 6.6.
I don't even know how that money is, like, because the county is saying that they're paying for it. So Ed Romaine has already said that it is being funded and the money is there. How that money is sitting, I have no idea. And
which is another thing that we
I'm
should
hoping,
do.
and I'm going to put this out into a public forum now that we are inviting Ed Romaine to the podcast.
All right.
I have had some conversation with people that are within his staff that said that it might be possible. So we are doing a public invite, so then we can maybe get him on and we will talk.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if we can get an environmentalist, maybe through Bass, Gene Gilliland. So I'm working on getting that for maybe the possibility of having a future show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But yeah, I think having them and like having this conversation more. I mean, because these people are obviously all about trying to get us to be turned down, even if they don't live on the island.
But that's like what I
Whether
was
they're
saying
on
too.
payroll, whether they're claiming that they're with, I don't know, what is it called? Non-for-profit organizations, so they don't get paid, which is, I think, the biggest scam and bullshit when it comes to these environmental groups, because they're all there and they're all getting paid somehow.
Yeah.
It might not be direct, but somebody's getting money somehow. I think that we should be pushing a little harder, and we're going to try to get our
I think they shouldn't have even had any of this. And the dam broke, fine, good.
Yeah,
Put it back
go
up.
rebuild it.
Go rebuild it.
It should have been no question. But
Now they have to open shit to the public and have everybody's.
I know I
opinion.
have spoken to Gene in the past, and he's the biologist, I believe, for Bass, and he's like the head guy that runs it. And he has told me in the past that they're dealing with this across the country. So this is not something that's just focused here, and that's why all those groups are pushing so hard, because they have funding across the country to have them all these things stopped. But I would like to get some more scientific background on why this should be built.
$5,000 and 4 Home Depot guys, and I have it built in a weekend. I said it.
I was talking to
And it would be built stronger than most of our roads that we drive on.
yeah. I was talking to Brian on the way home. I don't remember it was last night or the night before, and I said this that one person that posted on there saying like, I'm not against it or for it, but I think nature should take its course. I'm like, yeah, if your house gets knocked down in a storm, maybe we should just not rebuild it and let nature take its course. Like, come on,
Yeah.
right? Like
Did
Nature
you
didn't
see?
want you there, so move on.
Did you see what I
You're not
said when
getting money for it.
I want the nature to dictate what it is? I'm
Yeah,
like,
let's let the wildlife dictate what it is.
what was my comment? Because we're higher on the food chain.
I
Simple
don't
as
know.
that.
It's just it's getting stupid now, and I
Yeah,
think
but do you notice the people that are posting on it? And I think it was on your page, or it might have been on Ricardo's page. The people that were posting, you can look them up, but then that's all they post. Like almost like a fake account type of thing, because I responded both to them multiple times, calling them out with no response.
Yeah.
The one guy, when I said, we're higher on the food chain, the one lady said, if you think that was a mean comment, you should see how I really feel. Like, and I get no back. It's
because
like
they
just,
don't want to. I believe that they have these extra accounts. They're trolls. That's what they are.
yeah, that's it.
It's
They're just
they have their account to troll, and then they have their personal account. And they
like
they
the
don't
troll
even-
that was
like-
there with the wooden shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you hear what happened in the
Did you-
parking
I
lot?
did not know.
Please go ahead. Because at the time I was shaking after all the bullshit that happened, and this guy
So
rolled
right
up on us.
after News 12 did the interview with me.
Yeah.
So Brian had left because he parked in a different lot.
Yeah.
So me and Sean, we were sitting in the parking lot just kind of bullshitting. And like it was a beautiful day. Like we should have went fishing, honestly.
I did.
Uh-huh.
But it was a beautiful day out, so we were all
I did.
good for you. So we were all sitting there and we're just watching this guy walk out, and he gets into his car, and we're sitting there kind of chuckling at him because of his stupid wooden shoes. And like I'm not going to say anything to the guy. Like he's doing him. Do I think that it might not be safe for him to be driving a car with those stupid wooden shoes? Maybe.
Probably not.
But that's not for me to go any further. So then he comes and rolls his window down, and he's like, "It's not going to be built. You should hear my testimony." And I'm like
Like
your
it was
testimony,
like it was a deposition.
this has. I was like, just go scratch, and then like he just drove off. But
And then I lost and said, "Nice fucking wooden shoes, asshole!" Like,
yeah,
like I was like, really, like,
but
not,
he's the same guy that was sitting in that chair, and you probably saw it, Dave. With like, he took the girl's chair. Like,
Yeah.
I guess there was two women sitting next to each other, and he like wouldn't get up, and when he was told that like he was in somebody's chair until somebody actually
how do you know?
told him like that's my chair, and he's like handing the lady the purse and saying I'm not getting up or whatever.
Yeah, I saw
They're
that.
all
That was-
fucking
that was,
whacked.
that was weird.
They're all
It's very simple. You might be a movie buff or not. I know you're not.
Nah.
Remember the movie Nothing But Trouble?
Yep.
He's Dan Aykroyd. He was the judge. He was the judge, straight up.
I have
Fucked
no
up
idea what you're
nose,
talking about.
long hair. Like, he's the judge. Like, send him down to the Sepalo, let him go across the sewage, and he's gonna
That
die.
was a great.
That's that guy.
That was a great movie, by the way. Dan Aykroyd.
It was
Chevy
a
Chase,
great-
Demi
I was-
Moore. Excellent movie.
100%. 100%. He was the judge. And even if, like, how do you pull up there knowing that you obviously knew that we had ties to Tom because you know we ran out right out there.
Yeah.
How about pulling up and say, "Hey, I hope your buddy's okay"? Nothing. You want to come up and roll up and start and like literally, you're rolling smoke at the wrong individual.
Yeah.
Because I'll knock you in your head with your wooden clog and leave you right there. We're right at the courthouse. I'll go right
I'd
back
like
in.
to see him run. That would be kind of interesting
I don't know.
with those shoes.
I hope. You know what? I want you to make it public. Because he was the dumbass that one gave his name and his address on where he lived. And if I was the way I was back I used to be, he wouldn't be making it to the next meeting. And I hope he does show up to the next meeting. Because I'm going to make sure that Sponge goes in the morning. We're just going to make him go in late. And Sponge is going to eat him alive.
I want Paul to come next week too.
That's fine. We can have Paul come. I can just
Yeah.
got to call Paul.
Yeah, we got to get Paul in.
All right.
So, well, Dave,
Yep.
I think this has been a fun one.
I've enjoyed it.
appreciate you donating your time, and
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got this to work out. And
Captain Glide.
schedule out. Yeah,
If you ever want to do it again, let me know. I'm more than happy. Maybe we could do like
absolutely.
a panel thing and get a bunch of us on here all at one time.
Yeah, I
That would be
think that
awesome.
might be a couple of you guys that we should get all on one night.
Right.
Yeah, see, but no, you have to do it. You have to get the people that are like kind of friends, but kind of not, so they can bicker
Yeah.
and they can fight.
That's
But
like
I do appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
all right, man. Thank you so much, man. I
Thanks, pal.
appreciate you guys having me on here, and tight lines, everyone.
You
Later,
too, man.
brother.
Take care. You want to